Experiences at the arena varied widely today. In the morning, it was calm. Most people experienced issues with the websites, but they came anyway and were able to get vaccinated. As the day went on, more and more people started to arrive, and the frustration and confusion grew. The one universal experience, the appointment website, was infuriating.
It just kept crashing and crashing and crashing, even though they had promised that it wasn't going to crash.
But this morning, people said once they got on scene, everything went well. The wait wasn't too long and the vaccine itself, painless.
Going through the process in here, much smoother.
Pretty quick. Once I got here and once I got in line, everything was fine.
And the process has been so smooth and great.
That all changed by afternoon as cars started filling up not only the parking lot, but nearby streets. Some waited hours just to get to the entrance.
About an hour and a half.
About 2 hours.
Others got to the entrance quickly, but then waited ages to snake around the lot and finally be allowed to park.
It was only about 20 minutes before I got into the lot, but then once I was in the lot, I just sat and sat.
Others still avoided that line altogether.
When I saw the big line of cars, I decided to park and to walk in.
Many of those who walked were able to get into the line outside the door in just a few minutes. Now, as for appointment verification, that also varied by time and by how you got here. This morning, verification seemed lax. Some people said they were allowed in, even though the site crashed on them before confirming their appointment. But things got stricter as the day went on. Chaz workers were given lists of everyone who had an appointment. Stationed at the edge of the site in the middle of the lot and throughout the standing line, they checked names against that list. People not on the list were turned away, including many who came only with their phase finder eligibility or who signed up for a COVID test thinking it was the shot. The challenges notwithstanding, at the end of the day, most people were just thrilled to finally be vaccinated.
Oh, I'm ecstatic. I feel very relieved.
Well, I got to get the second one, and then after that, party.
It almost brings you to tears because you're so happy to finally get this.
Now, as of about 1 o'clock today, Chaz Health says they have vaccinated at least 350 people. That's the information that we have as of this afternoon. Mark Whitney, Tom.
Well, Casey, before we let you go, I know that yesterday you spent the day at the drive-through vaccine site in Kennewick, down in the Tri-Cities. We know they started doing vaccines earlier in the week. I'm curious, differences that you noticed and maybe where it went well or maybe not so well here in Spokane.
Well, one of the biggest differences, Whitney, would just be the sheer number of people being vaccinated. I said so far here at the Chaz Clinic, 350 people. They're on day 3 now in the Tri-Cities, and I received word from a spokesman down there today that they vaccinated more than 1,000 people in one day there with their drive-through setup. So that's one thing. Of course, they're also a few days into it now, but the biggest difference also in just terms of the physical location is one is a drive-through, one everyone has to park, and it definitely seemed to me that the drive-through was a little more efficient, and they had a more efficient route through that area compared to here, where some of this parking has caused some chaos so far today.
Also, I'm curious, knowing that you have talked to officials on both sides at both clinics, curious if it seems like the day 1 is always kind of that trial and error period where you have to figure out what the problems are going to be, so then you can go back and fix them for the next day 2 and day 3.
I think that's absolutely the case, Whitney. On day 1 in Kennewick, they had long lines that went into the street as well. By day 2, they had worked out some of the kinks. They had a better idea about how to address those issues. And so we might be able to see the same thing here. Maybe day 2, day 3 in Spokane go a little more smoothly and vaccinate more people.
All right, Casey Decker, thank you very much. Live down at the arena tonight.